Wow, so you're watching the AM show. If you just joined us, well, you missed the news. But good thing is, we're right onto the newspapers. We'll do the hardcore newspapers and do the online news portals as well. And this is a time where you can also send me your regular SMS messages and your WhatsApp messages. So let's start off really with some messages that I have received. This is from Moses Sosu from Nkwanta South in the Volta region. Simply saying good morning and that you like our show. Today is my junior brother Sosu Victor Elikem at Agate. Today's his birthday. I wish him a happy birthday. That's your message. Well, thank you very much for sending us this message. If you've got a message that you also want to send to us, you're welcome to do so via regular text and then also SMS. I'll find time and then share a lot more of those messages. But let's do the newspapers. Let's start off with the Finder newspaper. I'm sure you're familiar with what is making the front page headline today. 2 cops killed, 7 suspects freed at Kwabenya police station. Max armed thugs terrorize residents of Koforidua, another headline there. Ave Maria begs the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to extend demolition dates. First Lady commits to help improve the health sector. GRA record 22.3% revenue growth in 2017. Now let's start off on page 16 on these masked men we're told were terrorizing residents of Koforidua. That story, page 16 in the Finder. It says residents of New Jabeng municipality in Koforidua in the eastern region are living in terror after experiencing a series of robbery attacks in just 2 weeks. So the Eastern Regional Police Public Relations Officer, Assistant Superintendent of Police, Ebenezer Tete, told the Finder that between the hours of 11 p.m. and 12 midnight on Tuesday, January 16, 2018, the municipal patrol team spotted 3 masked men in an ash Toyota Corolla without a number plate at Bulasport area in Old Estate. That's a place in the municipality. And so the picture that comes with the story is the vehicle that these guys were driving in. Police suspected that the persons in the car might be up for mischief and pursue them. So while escaping, the suspect crashed the Toyota Corolla into a parked Toyota Salon vehicle, and the details of that vehicle are also given here. So it's just basically an account of how these guys were arrested. You can read more about the sort of things that they had been up to in Koforidua prior to the arrest, all in the newspaper. Let's see which other story we can pick from the front page. We'll go to page 5, still in the Finder newspaper. On this story about the performance of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, in 2017, we're told they recorded a nominal growth rate of 22.3% over the 2016 collection figures. So all the figures being given in the paper. Before we close the chapter on this, we want to end on page 18 on this story about the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, the MBU unit. This angle that's been picked by the Finder says First Lady Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo has announced that the next project under her Rebecca Special Initiative is the construction of an intensive care unit at the children's block of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. She said the project would begin in February and that she would need the support of all stakeholders to raise funds for the project. Quote, again, I will be calling on Ghanaians to help the foundation do this, Mrs. Akufo-Addo said at the inauguration of the newly built mother and baby units of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. Details of all that well captured in the Finder newspaper. Now, let's follow that up with a graphic. So on the front page of the Daily Graphic news page, the newspaper, what happened in Parliament yesterday? Speaker sworn in as acting president. So on the front page of the paper, you'd see Her Ladyship, Miss Sophia Ekufu, administering the oaths to Right Honorable Mike Okwe as acting president of the Republic of Ghana at the Chamber of Parliament yesterday. Picture taken by Ebo Hansen. But now we know the minority is raising some concerns with regards this oath that was administered yesterday. We'll touch on the details of that later on AM Talk when we settle down with our guests. after sports. Also, VIP in UK on medical leave. That's also raising lots of talking points in our country today. Some people, for instance, the minority, saying that give us full disclosure. What's wrong with our vice president? And it was interesting. The Minister of Information also given us some information yesterday. That's also got a lot of people raising their eyebrows and asking, for real? That one of the reasons he had to be flown to the UK for medical attention was because if he remained in Ghana, lots of people would visit him and, you know, not allow him to recover properly. I don't know what you make of that. What do you think about that? But that's also one of the things that we'll be talking about here on our show. But this story that we need everybody to be aware of is the jailbreakers. These guys who stormed the Kwabena police station. It's a headquarters, by the way. And then they released some jailbreakers there on Sunday, early Sunday morning. That story is well captured here. Gangsterism at Kwabena police station. Gunmen free, cell inmates, officer on duty killed. So you have to be very familiar with the faces, because the minute you spot them, you've got to alert the nearest police station or a police officer. And they've got a number that I'm going to retrieve, so that if you think you've seen anybody looking like them, so you can, you know, quickly dial the number. Let's see what's making the center spread. The Daily Graphic newspaper, center spread. Okay. Clamor for degrees killed our education system by Kamul Ngotho. I figure this will be a good story to read. It's over fats, the new obesity. That's a question, a big question that's also being asked. But this story, it's a piece that's been written on the clamor for degrees. And it says that has killed our education system. It will be good if you could grab the paper and read all about it. Okay. And then on the back page of the Daily Graphic, we've got some sports. Dreams FC are G8 champions. Okay, so Benedict will be here to give us all the rundown in sport, including this particular story. Dreams FC yesterday fulfilled their dream of lifting the Ghana League Club Association. That's the Galka G8 Cup, when they reigned supreme over my team, Accra Hearts of Oak, beating them 2-1 at the Cape Coast Stadium. It's sad, but I'm happy for Dreams FC. Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper next, front page of the Ghanaian Times. President in Liberia to attend inaugural ceremony of George Weah. Professor Okoye sworn in as acting president. And then another talking point that's coming out of this is our president is in Liberia. He's still Ghana's president, attending a ceremony in Liberia. Do we need an acting president back home in Ghana? What can't he not do, or what can he not do as president of Ghana visiting Liberia? We'll talk about that as well. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority poised to demolish facility to complete Tema Port expansion. And deadly attack on Kwabena police. Manhunt for 6 robbers. 7 escapees. Attack leaves police officer dead. It's just one of those stories that you usually would read about. We, for instance, would have read about this maybe on the BBC, CNN, or something like that, something that's happening elsewhere, but not in Ghana. But, you know, we woke up Sunday morning to realize that this actually happened in Ghana, right close to our homes, and it's unbelievable. Where are we headed? What's happening? Is this a new trend? Is this something that we're supposed to expect? How are we, you know, combating this? Are we ready to deal with this kind of situation? A lot of talking points from this as well that we will deal with. But in all of that break, we had a man down. A man was killed. A family man was killed, and we heard in our news how family members say he was the breadwinner. They looked up to him. And so we will look at all the other angles in the story later on as well. Let's see the center spread of the Ghanaian Times. Essentially, is giving you in pictures what they have on the front page. So the president in Liberia to attend the inaugural ceremony of George Weah. You see our president in a handshake with the man who will soon be called president of Liberia, George Weah. Vice president in the UK for medical leave. And then these 7 in police custody who escaped. Okay, I think one of them was on remand. He had been remanded by the courts. Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper next. On the front page of the Daily Guide, man past man, that's in quote, Nana teases Mahama. Avi Maria begs the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority for extension. This story really making all the front page headlines in all the papers, if you like. Robbers kill cop, free 7 prisoners, and Okwe is acting president. So essentially, that's what you find on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. And I would have loved to do the center spread if they did, if there was something that Roland would have liked us to review, but nothing really. So we're done with the Daily Guide. Let's do the Daily Dispatch. Front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Lecturer on basis of voting in 2016 manifesto, 48%, and ethnicity 4.6%. Well, this is one that you have to take your time and read and absorb. Late Nana said Chibu Dakon denies, I think, there's an inside story on him that you can read about. Top 10 causes of admissions and deaths in Ghana and Ghana's oil wealth and development. That's it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Let's do the Business and Financial Times. That's the last paper that we will do, and then we will go online to see what is on myjoyonline.com, City FM, and then we will do the BBC Africa page. So the Business and Financial Times, Bank of Ghana aggressively pushing for mergers, cryptocurrencies to disrupt banking system, according to an economist. And analysts see room for further policy rate cuts. These are the front page headlines, the Business and Financial Times newspaper. And on the back page, we've got the ARP Apex Bank first to roll out GH Link EMV standard technology. What's that all about? Well, it's on the back page of the paper that you can check out. Institutionalizing procurement will save us more than $200 million, according to an expert. That story also on the back page of the Business and Financial Times newspaper. All right, with that done now, let's do the online portals. Let's start from home. Home is always good, so we'll start from myjoyonline.com. But before that, let's share a few of your messages. This one says, the police PRO is not telling the truth. It's never true that all stations have armed men. The senior officers are our problem. Safe as Arthur was doing the same from Abeku in Medina. And this is coming out of this cell break story that happened in Kwabenya. And I guess you're saying this because of Efia Tenge's account in Latif Idris' report in our news a bit earlier. This one says, how can you keep suspected armed robbers in cell with no security? Ghana police and no police at all. They only know how to worry drivers and harmless drug addicts. That's coming from Ivan. This one says, I beg to differ with your assertion that this is new in Ghana. People have been attacking police stations in this country, albeit it being without deaths. All the same, there have been instances they leave personnel beaten to a pulp. Nothing was done as usual, and it's escalated to this point. Let's hope this time our lawmakers will identify the need for reforms in our security. That's coming from Abraham in Koforidua. And my WhatsApp messages are not dropping quite now, so I would urge you to SMS, send me regular SMS messages whilst I work on that. This one says, well done to the government of the day. Pandai is now resurrecting and remembered in the history of Ghana. Thanks. That's Nuruddin Abdul Rashid in Pandai. So go ahead and send me regular SMS messages whilst I work on my WhatsApp messages. This one from Aziz Donla says it's obviously clear that this country is no longer safe as attacks and killings are incredibly increasing day in, day out. With all the security apparatus such as National Security Minister, Defense, Interior, IGP, Iyoko, CID, yet all these unlawful killings are still happening. Allah Almighty knows best. That's Aziz Donla sending us that message. Let's do myjoyonline.com, shall we? All right, on the front page. Did I say on the front page of myjoyonline.com? No. So when you open myjoyonline.com, this is what you find. Drunk pilots removed from BA plane at Gatwick Airport. A pilot was taking off a flight from Gatwick Airport after fears were raised. He was drunk. All right, so the rest of that story there, if you're interested, you can always click on it. It's on myjoyonline.com. Kwamenya police station raid, suspects picked up for screening. So the police in Accra, oh, this is good, have begun screening an undisclosed number of suspects picked up in connection with the deadly Sunday dawn jailbreak at Kwamenya in the Greater Accra region. It looks like this is going to be a very speedy one. People have been picked up already and some screening being done. That's good news. Let's move on. Strike out stroke. So this is a feature that you might want to settle down and read. There's a video of Ronaldo borrowing a doctor's phone to check facial injury on pitch. Cristiano Ronaldo broke his dry spell in a powerhouse performance Sunday, but it wasn't his goal scoring that made headlines. I guess it is him, borrowing the phone to check out. So what we do as women, the guys also do, really on a pitch where you're playing football. I guess he put it on the camera bit to see, and then he would see himself so he can appreciate what is happening in his face. Really? So if you might want to catch up with this video on myjoyonline.com. MTN wants to be Africa's biggest bank. MTN, Africa's biggest mobile operator, is now gunning to become Africa's biggest bank. How? The rest of the story is on myjoyonline.com. Can get bicycles to learn trade after JoyNews story is one that you say hooray after you read it. So 20 girls head porters have received bicycles to facilitate their transportation to a new center where they can now learn a trade in smoke weaving. And Justice Bade, they're raising his hand in that picture. He is the career of this good news. Okay. Also, Home Affairs Diary, regaining our sights riot, is it? Oh, okay. A priority or not? Sight not riot. Sight not a priority. Two fulfilled visually impaired men share stories, and that was on Home Affairs. Well captured here. If you missed the version on radio, I guess you can catch up with the write-up. Okay. Updates. Okay, this was yesterday. What happened in Parliament in terms of the Speaker being sworn in. The side issues all captured on myjoyonline.com. Baumia's returned from UK medical arrest uncertain. So government says it is unsure how long Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will be away on medical leave in the United Kingdom. And some people have said that because government has talked about it, because a statement has been released, because it looks like there is something, and that's why some people are pushing for full disclosure, because some people have said that, listen, if you had headache or malaria, there wouldn't have been the need to issue a press statement. But if they have, then it means that what is happening is grave, and that's why they are pushing for government to tell us all, what is happening to our vice president. So we'll see how that goes when we settle down for AM Talk. Hopefully we'll have more to share beyond what is contained in that press release. Two of the release, one from Eugene Ahin, who is Director Communications of the Presidency, and then we also saw the Chief of Staff also issuing another press release late in the day on Saturday. So we'll see how that goes. There are lots of other stories on myjoyonline.com, by the way. If you're interested, you just have to visit the website. It's www.myjoyonline.com. And if you miss any of our content here on Joy News on television, you can always catch up because we've got our videos uploaded, and there's a direct link on myjoyonline.com. You just have to visit the page and scroll down and you won't miss it. Let's do City FM Online right now. On City FM Online, Indian remanded over alleged defilement of 3-year-old. Also, Baumia is in the UK to rest, according to Information Minister Mustafa Hamid. Professor Okoye sworn in as acting president. Akufo-Addo leaves Ghana for George Weah's inauguration in Liberia. Okay. And then the poor states of the Accra Sports Stadium in photos. Fire raises homes at Jolu, also in photos on City FM Online. And 7 Kwabenya police station escapees named in, and they've got the photos also there on the sites. Before we bring you the BBC, let's do some messages and then we'll bring you the BBC. This one says, so who is the president now? Is it Nana-Addo? Oh, okay, let me do this properly. Let's see. Okay, I'll come back to that message. I think I just missed it. But this one says, what I want to tell my party, the MPP, is that a party built on corruption and manipulated internal elections eventually collapses. The current polling station elections is a charade. That's from Raymond Osafujan in Kwewu Tafo sending this message. And this one says, great job. Oh, okay. So thank you for liking my dress and wishing Roland speedy recovery. That's from Kojo Mensa in Akachi. Kojo, thank you so much for your message. This one says, your heckling of Roland has made him indisposed, wishing him speedy recovery. That's from Nangtongma, Tamale South. Listen, I think that he even misses that. And if he was on the show, he probably would not be so sick. So you can't be sure. But thanks for the message. This one says the attacks on our security personnel is becoming too much. Are we safe? Question for Mary Anika in Techimang. And here's the message that I started reading earlier. So who is the president now? Is it Nana-Addo or... Okay, you can't say Martin Amidu has never been close to... how can you even say that? Should I continue to read the message? I will not. Please, let's just keep it straight to the point. We're not attacking anybody here on the show. This one says this country is really becoming something else. Prisoners broke out. We need to pray for our safety. I missed you guys. Bambaki Asamed sending this message. It's been a while, Bambaki Asamed. This one says, sometime our policemen are not fair and genuine, from Suleiman in Kumasi. I wonder how that is linked with what happened in Kwabenya. But 2 more and then we'll go to the BBC. This one says, what's happening to Ghana's security sector? Wilson Kujo Akoli in Sokode in Ho asking this question. And here's another one that says, okay, I think you're just repeating the person who is trying to put Martin Amidu in this whole picture. I refuse to read your message. Send me one that doesn't have, that's not linking anybody who is not president and asking those questions. So let's do the BBC. BBC Africa page, several dead in DR Congo protests. Story says at least 6 people are killed in the police crackdown on protests against President Joseph Kabila. Ethiopian police kill 5 at festival. President-elect Weah nets winning goal. So former football pro George Weah challenges Liberia's army to a friendly before his inauguration. For real? I think this is a video thread that we want to see. So please, whatever happens, click on this story for us. Let's see. Did he really do this ahead of his inauguration? It will be interesting. We'll see if we can watch that in a bit. In the meantime, let's see if we can read more of your messages that you've sent whilst we try and load this video. This one says, my name is Walker inside Takwa. Ghana Police Service needs to be boosted. Ghana now insecure. Okay, so this is it. So we're just 2 days, okay, this was 2 days earlier because the inauguration is happening. So the new commander-in-chief put his army team to the test. Weir's team was stacked with former international teammates, but the new president proved he hasn't lost his touch either. Is he going to score a goal? Did he score a goal? We are all-stars to Liberia, Army 1. That's interesting. It's a country of footballers. They will be nurturing a lot more of him. But all eyes in Liberia today because he's going to be sworn in as president of Liberia. We know that there are some superstars, Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o and co, all in Liberia for the swearing-in ceremony. There are some highlights here. Mugabe forgot Mnangagwa firing. Teacher suspended for caning student. Captive North Americans freed in Nigeria. Kenya investigates hospital rape claims. Ghana wants British Airways over bedbugs. That story making its way on the BBC page. Uganda could resume executions. Also another story here. Zimbabwe politician dies in U.S. air crash. Cape Town slashes water use amid droughts. Okay, so all these highlights you can catch up in detail if you visit the website. Now let's do what is happening in the U.S. What is one big major talking points? And do we do that in a video form, Fred? Okay, so let's listen to this.
It was a cynical decision by Senate Democrats to shove aside millions of Americans for the sake of irresponsible political games. The government shutdown was 100% avoidable. Completely avoidable. Now it is imminent.
The way things went today, the way you turned from a bipartisan deal, it's almost as if you were rooting for a shutdown. And now we'll have one. And the blame should crash entirely on President Trump's shoulders. This will be called the Trump shutdown.
A shutdown they're talking about. U.S. senators are struggling to agree on a bill to fund the government, which is in its second day of shutdown. A Senate session was adjourned late on Sunday, and a vote has been postponed to midday on Monday. Democratic and Republican senators have so far traded blame for the shutdown, but we're told that some people will not be paid today because of that. And over the weekend, people didn't quite feel the effects of the shutdown, but on a working day, on a Monday, people will begin to feel the heat. So it will begin to bite today. But we'll see how that goes. And Trump has been tweeting. As for Trump, oh my God. So great to see how hard Republicans are fighting for our military and safety at the border. The Democrats just want illegal immigrants to pour into our nation unchecked. If stalemate continues, Republicans should go to 51%. That's nuclear option and vote on real long-term budgets. Okay, so Donald Trump doing his thing like he always does, and we will see how this unfolds in the coming hours. We thank you for all the messages. If you sent me a message via WhatsApp, I haven't quite been able to retrieve, but I'm going to work on it. But thank you for all the messages. Thank you for staying with us. We've got sports coming up next with Benedict Owusu-Dankwa. He's got you locked down on all that happened over the weekend, after which we'll settle down and do our discussion on AM Talk. We've got great talking point from this swearing in acting president, Speaker of Parliament, and then the question of, can't our president still be president even when he's in Liberia? Is he going to be referred to as any other thing apart from president of Ghana when he's in Liberia? Why do we need an acting president? We're back to this whole debate on our show right after sport. And then, of course, we'll talk about what happened in Kwabenya as well. Stay with us. This is the AM Show.